Hi, Nathaniel Gavronsky here. It's been a very, very long night for a lot of people here in Iowa. I want to first congratulate the Republican Party of Iowa. Their caucuses ran off without a hitch. Record turnout for an incumbent president running and with very little real challengers. Yes, he did have some surrogates coming in toward the core parts of the state, like Des Moines and Cedar Rapids and a few other areas, but there's a lot of part of the state that was on its own, and the number of people who were participating in the Republican side of the caucuses for an incumbent who had no real challengers is outstanding. It shows that a lot of people here are in full support of the president. And one thing I would like to note is that there were a lot of people who were coming into these Republican caucuses that were registering from Democrats to Republicans, or registering from independent unaligned to Republicans, so they could participate in what they believe to be the future of this country. So congratulations to Donald Trump and to the Iowa Republican Party for an outstanding caucus. A lot of people don't know the Iowa caucuses were held for both Republicans and Democrats, because only ones getting in the noise are the Democrats. Now, I did my video about the Democratic candidates, which took 20 hours to load because there was so much information. I even rushed it to get all the information out for people to get. A lot of people came in still undecided tonight for the Democratic caucuses, and as you can tell, the caucuses are still undecided. Not so much because of the caucus goers, but because the party has completely failed at its duties to make sure that its technology was going to work properly. Now, the thing about technology is that we always joke about it every single day, is that the wireless revolution is just tied us all to an outlet somewhere in an airport with a charger cord into an outlet. Technology does not always make us freer or make us more successful, and many times it actually can hold us back because we rely on it too much. With the Republican caucuses, it was really simple and really easy. In fact, the Republican part of the voting is done in usually about 10 minutes once the voting starts, where everyone gets a slip of paper, they write down who they want, it goes in, it goes back out. Do we have a winner or do we not? And then it goes down to the who had the most votes, first, second, third, fourth, and we pass it on. And then we move on to county business, precinct and county business. With the Democratic caucuses, however, it's a whole other process. You get people in corners of rooms, so they shift side to side, and then they do roll calls, and it's based on how large of a group you have in your corner. And then they have to count the total number of people that are in the room to the percentages of those people that are in those corners, and then you have the non-viability. If you are viable, you can stay. And the Democrats really have an inefficient way of doing this. For Republicans, just easy, simple, on paper. You can't not count it properly, and you move on. Now, I've participated in Democrat and Republican caucuses, and I can tell you that the Republicans really know what they're doing. Now, it can be complicated when you have a lot of candidates, and I mean a lot of candidates like we had in 2016 for the Republican side, but when you whittled it down to the Democrats, there was really only 4 that were really contentious, which isn't that large of a group. We consider it was just Sanders, Biden, Warren, Buttigieg, and Klobuchar. And Klobuchar and Buttigieg were kind of flipping depending on where they were at, because Tulsi wasn't participating in this state really. Tom Steyer and Bloomberg weren't really participating in this state. Steyer was kind of, but Bloomberg was MIA. And you have Michael Bennet, who was here in name only, and currently actually sits on top of the winners list on the website for the Democratic Party because of alphabetical order. So the Democrats, you really didn't have that many candidates that you were actually dealing with here, and you have completely under ways, I'm completely for sure how, have messed this up beyond any accountability, because this isn't that hard. You really, like I said, only had the 5 candidates that really had any viability potential. And if you can't get that part done, now listen, a lot of these people who run these caucuses are volunteers. This is something that they don't get paid to do. They aren't schooled on it. There's a little bit of training, but not much. You in a state that's you have these caucuses that are taking place in people's houses, in post offices, in schools, and churches, sometimes in the basements. There's not the greatest of reception for internet. You should have known this. The technology is not always your friend. Even in New York City, where I spend a good amount of time and part of my year, there's places where I don't get reception. In New York City, when I'm in DC, when I'm in Chicago, when I'm in LA and other bigger cities, there are places where you don't get reception, and I don't care what state you're in. there's not a state in this country to where every inch and part of it is covered by a good internet signal. So if you're going to rely on data and phone apps, you better make sure your internet works. And I hate to tell you, but there's not a state in this country that has that good of internet. So maybe unless you maybe Delaware, because it's only 3 counties and the smallest state in the country, so they might actually have a chance to get away with this. But you rely on too much technology and not actual paper ballots. Iowa's general election is rock solid because you can't hack paper. You can cut it, but you can't hack it. And I think that this is a testament to how simplicity wins the day. And you have candidates that are trying to figure out a way to get their name out there. Congratulations to Amy Klobuchar, the one person who I actually think probably has the best actual general election chance of winning the whole thing. Until you come up against the juggernaut, which is Donald Trump, because I don't know if she'll be able to handle the just in-your-face energy that Donald Trump has. But I think she has the intellect to do it. I think she has the ability to keep herself calm under pressure to do it. But she's going to have to bring it because she's very, very moderate. And you know, I personally like that in a Democrat compared to some of the other ones. It'll be tough for her to win a general, but I think she would actually have a good shot if she can make it through here. You're going to see a lot of people hitting Bernie, saying that Bernie was cheated again. And this does actually help Biden quite a bit, because since there's no results going into New Hampshire, there's no momentum of anyone else. And since Biden was kind of the de facto national leader, he's going to be able to steamroll that as this being the kind of national leader without anything saying that he's not. Now, I have seen some numbers from some of the precincts, out of the like 1,600 plus precincts, that Biden didn't do very well. In many cases, he wasn't viable, and Yang actually had better viability than Joe Biden did in many parts of the state. So you're really looking at a Warren, a Buttigieg, and a Sanders three-way race, with Klobuchar coming in 4th or 5th, depending on where Joe Biden lands in this. But all in all, it's I think it's going to come out to be a really, really poor night for someone who I consider also a friend, Joe Biden. He's not going to be able to push forward, especially if if the results come in for Iowa before New Hampshire's come out, and if New Hampshire doesn't prove well for Joe Biden, and he doesn't actually get many delegates out of Iowa, he's going to really, really have to rely on Nevada and South Carolina, which are pretty much more to his benefit than, say, a Pete Buttigieg or an Amy Klobuchar, with the new revelations of her time as the county attorney up in Minneapolis. But you know, this non-event story is going to haunt the outcome of this election and the outcome of this nomination process for the Democrats. And I really hope that this doesn't deter Iowa's chances of being the first of the nation caucuses for both the Republicans and Democrats, because this is really going to hurt Iowa's reputation. And I'll be honest, I'm very, very proud of this state. I brag about it all the time, and I'm going to continue to do so, even when they screw up, because it's still my state. But seriously, I could have run the Democratic caucuses better than they did. It's not that hard. All you had to do was do paper ballots. Once you had all the numbers, each single voting, wrote the numbers down. They used to do it on the dry erase boards or the chalkboards. Write the numbers down, first vote, second vote, third vote, and then they would copy that on a piece of paper, and then they would literally call it in on a landline, and they called it in from precinct, county. So the county would have a vote after the precincts, get the county numbers in. The county numbers would call into a district. The district would have the full numbers on where the congressional district it was. Kind of how I saw it broken down into. And then the districts would lobby up all their numbers, and then they would call that into the state. It was a simple boom, 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 and you had several stop check measures in case something came up wrong. I don't know how hard this is to run where it's not that large of a state, and the turnout is good for the numbers, but not everyone who's eligible to vote participates if it's a primary or a caucus. So we're not even dealing with the entire state's population here. And the Democrats, this is more so of a debacle than what the Republicans had in 2016, because you saw what they did and you could have prevented it, because you could learn from their mistakes, and you clearly haven't. And now you want to take the largest healthcare system in the world, which is the Medicare system, and you want to expand it and put yourselves in control of it. I think that is a blatantly bad idea, and I think this proves that technology and all the stuff you want to do isn't necessarily going to make things better for people, and that you rely on it too much. and that, you guys could have done a way better. I'm really disappointed in my friends that are Democrats. I used to be one, not anymore, and I'm glad because I can point my finger and like, haha, you screwed up. But still, you're making us look bad, man. Come on now. It's no joke, man. No joke. We'll do push-ups. But all in all, this road is over for now. The votes have been done. It's all about them figuring out the tallies now. We got the State of the Union tomorrow, and the following day we have the acquittal of Donald Trump in the impeachment trial, the impeachment hoax. And there's a chance that both those will happen before the Iowa caucuses are actually announced, leading into the weekend with New Hampshire. So this has been a wild ride. I'm glad it's over. I spent, since last May, I've been in all 99 counties 3 times. I've done the full grass seed 3 times, talking with individual voters, a Republican and Democrat, talking to people about what their thoughts are, what their issues are. I have a really good understanding of what they're coming about with healthcare and the environmental issues, and a lot of them, and I'll be honest, a lot of people came out and said none of the candidates really addressed the reality of the situation, that they want a greener New Deal, they want environmental stuff, but they still need to be able to get to and from work and to and from the hospital. So outlying cars and outlying gas and cow farts is not the answer. And when they had private insurance, they could get to a doctor. Now that they have Medicare and Medicaid, because they're retired or disabled, they can't. Your argument for both those on the Democratic side are pretty well mute. And that's not just Iowa. I've talked to people in New Hampshire and the Carolinas and Nevada and California, Texas, many of the other states. It's the same problem. It sounds great, but the rural areas, which is a majority of the country, but just slightly, without being able to use gas and cars and farm machinery and farm animals, a livelihood is very difficult. And it's already the largest healthcare system in the world, Medicare is. And they want to expand it and duplicate its services as far as adding more things to it, and they can't even manage it as it is now. So we'll see how it goes. The way I look at it right now, it's all Donald Trump's game to lose. I think that the candidates that have the most likely chance of winning the nomination, even if it goes to convention, is probably going to be Bernie Sanders, unless someone jumps in, or the Democrats just completely chafe it and decide they're going to take superdelegates and they're just going to pick the candidate like they did back in '84. Bernie Sanders versus Donald Trump would be a very, very tough race because they have a staunch support. But I think when it comes down to the actual policies of both of them, and when you actually start breaking down Bernie's ideas into how you would have to completely alter every aspect of the economy and people's ability to do work and to create jobs and to create businesses, and the tax code and how a lot of people are employed for their lack of, they're contracted. His system just doesn't work. You can't tax people who aren't paying taxes to begin with, and people who can write all their taxes off like contractors can, which is a good chunk of the workforce who would be benefiting most from his plan. It's too top heavy of a burden for civic earners that are actually paying the most for the least amount of gain on Donald Trump's plan, which is about making everyone equally brought up. And I like what you want to say about Donald Trump or not, but his plans have launched the country forward economically. And this isn't something that Obama did that are rising now. This is a fundamental change in how the economy is being run that Obama wasn't doing. And say that Hillary Clinton would have won the election in 2016, we would not be where we are economically. There's a fundamental shift in the way the economy is being pressured, and that's bringing demand back locally because people have more faith in what's going on. And I don't think Hillary Clinton would have been able to do that. So everyone, it's been a good year. I've had a lot of fun with this, and I have some news coming up about what I'm going to be doing in the near future coming up. There's some still negotiations going on about where I'm going to be here shortly. I'll keep you up to date on that. Until next time, stay healthy, stay wealthy, stay wise, and as always, stay classy, Iowa.